Okay, if you wanted to add a guide in a specific location, right? I'm going to click on view and clear guides right now. Clear guides to remove all of the guides I have currently placed. Now let's say I wanted to put a new guide. So I'll go to new guide, right? And I wanted a vertical guide. Vertical will be which direction? Huh? Up, down, left, right?
Top to bottom.
Up to down.
Right, top to bottom, up, down. So I want the vertical guide at the 3-inch mark, right? I could just put in the position, click OK. Sorry, 3-inch, OK. And I have a vertical guide exactly at the 3-inch mark in my layout, right? Now, with guides, what you will find is things tend to jump to the guide. So let's say you have a layer, right? And selection be selected, right? And I'm breaking up at your graphics camera, but bear with me. Things tend to jump to your guides and stick to them to make it easy to align things to it. And that is called snap. You guys see that option in view? Snap?
Yeah.
Right. So let's say you're trying to get in a precise location. And for some reason, it keeps jumping because of another object that might be in the proximity or a guide or something. You can't get it exactly where you want. You might want to remove snap, right? Which will allow you to move your object smoother along hotspots like guides and gradients and objects, guides and other objects. All right. Okay. So for the most part, we'll snap anyway. All right, guys. Getting back to the original question, somebody said that they still had issues with the bitmap and vector explanation. Here's what. After class, I will send a link in the group chat that will hopefully explain it further. Okay. And if you guys still have issues in the next class, I will try and explain it again.
Yeah.
All right.
So I want to issues with the shapes. I still don't fully know how to make the shapes. You can make 1, 2 shapes.
Okay. All right. So let's try to master the shape 2 at least before we leave here today. Okay. All right. So who was it that could master the shape? That couldn't work with the shapes?
Me, Neil.
Okay. All right. So the shape tool, it's not really the shape tool. It's a number of tools bundled into one. Right. Now, the way that you access the various tools are by pressing and holding on the icon in the toolbox. Right. So you see we have the rectangle, the round rectangle, the ellipse, the polygon, the line.
Yo, mute me still, I can't hear you. That Benedict pan there.
All right. Sorry.
So you say click and hold?
All right, yeah. So if you press and hold on the shape tool or whichever tool is active at the time, it brings up a sub menu with a number of other tools.
What about right click?
Right click works as well.
Here's your right click. I use it.
Right click, yeah, right click works as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are at least 2 ways to get anything done in Photoshop. But pretty much you select the tool that you want to work with, right? Let's work with a roundy rectangle for now, right? And the easiest way to apply the tool is to click and drag, right? So if I click and drag with the roundy rectangle tool selected, it will draw a rounded rectangle for me, right? Now, a rounded rectangle is one of those slightly more complex shapes in that it has a height and it has a width, but it also has a radius, or what we call a corner radius, right? And that defines how curved the edges are. So right now, you notice I have a radius set of 400 pixels, which gives me a very round edge. I'm going to change that to about 50. Right? And again, click and drag with the tool it gives me the same shape around the rectangle, but notice a radius of 50 pixels on the edge, which is a much smaller round. Everybody sees that? Right, so that's the first way to use the tool, right? With any shape tool, you click and drag to draw the shape in free form. And by free form, what we mean is that, let me select the rectangle tool. It means we can draw a square, or we can draw a tall rectangle or wide rectangle, meaning it will adjust to how we drag, right? That's what we mean by free form shape. Let's say we had a need to draw a shape with particular dimensions. So let's say we wanted to draw a rectangle that is 3 inches wide, right, by 4 inches tall. Instead of clicking and dragging, we could simply click once on our document. And notice we have a create rectangle dialog box. We would just put in the width, let's say 3 inches in width and 4 inches in height. Okay, right? And it would draw a rectangle with those precise dimensions. If I drag it next to my ruler, you can see it's 3 inches in width and 4 inches in height. All right.
So,
Yes.
while I was doing my own yesterday, I tried to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
But when I change the width to 3 inches, it also changed the length to 3 inches.
When you change it, you do it in the properties, like from here, from the properties window. Where did you change the size?
In the, I think it was in the Dropbox, you know.
In
Just like how you were doing it just a while ago.
here.
Where you,
Okay, hold on. So with the shape tool, you simply click on the document and you put in the size here.
yes.
And it
Yes.
was
And because while I change width, the same thing going to the height. When I go to change the height, it just bringing it back across to the same thing I put in. Because I wanted to do something like 4 by 8. And when I put 4 on one side and I go to put 8 next side, it just switch both of them to 8.
Okay, let me show you. I don't think what you're talking about is in the create rectangle or in the create shape dialog box, but I think it might be when you resizing it. Yeah. So for instance, right now I'm looking at the properties panel, and for those of you again that don't have it visible, you can go window and properties, right? And let's say I wanted to change the size. So right now that's at 756 pixels. That's why I want to make it 1,000 pixels, right? Now, notice it went to 1,000 pixels for me, right? Now, you see in the properties panel, I have that little icon right here that looks like a chain link. Let's make that other side 1,000 as well. Right? Now, if I click that icon in between here, right? And I try to change the size, let's say 2,000 this time, right? What's going to happen is as I change the height, the width, the height is going to change proportionally. Right? Now, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but if you're using the shape tool, the create shape tool, it will not have an option for linking the shape, the width and the height. It does have an option up here in the options bar as well. So right here, right now, our shape is 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Let's make that 3 inches, right? By 3, notice it got 3 inches wide and it didn't get 3 inches tall, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to make it 2 inches tall now, 2 inches, right? Now, again, if I try to resize that image, so go on the shape. If I try to resize that, first, if I link the height and the width, meaning I click in between the two on the link icon, and if I change that to 6, what do you think is going to happen to the height?
It will change to the 6.
No.
Because it's linking it.
Not 6.
It's going to change to 4.
It's going to change to 4. All right?
Oh.
That's because it increases it, not to the exact number that we increase the height to, but it increases it proportionally. So if I double the height, it's going to double the width.
Okay, okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I understand.
To get out of that, all you need to do in any window that you change the size in, look for that icon and unlink the height and the width dimensions, and you will be able to modify one without the other.
All right, thanks.
The other option is you could switch to the move tool, right? And you can either click on the bounding box or you can click edit, free transform, right? And then you can click and drag to resize it to any size you need. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
So,
Yes, somebody else was saying something?
so the shape, when you clicked on it, there was a part that said about stroke at the top.
Yes. Right here,
Yes, when you click it, lines just pop up. What does that mean?
lines pop up.
I really hate to see them, but
When you say lines pop up, you mean
Like-
that window that pop up?
no, not that.
Do
Like
some
you-
kind of wibbly lines, right?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, wriggly lines. Okay, hold on. So what is a stroke? Can somebody tell me what is a stroke? I added a stroke to that square, that rectangle. What is a stroke?
Something that goes all around your shape.
A stroke is a line fill around the perimeter of your object, whatever object it is. In that case, we did a new shape. So yeah. Now, right now you realize I have a flat, simple stroke, but I have the option to get complicated with it. Notice a dotted stroke. And let me change the color to black. Right.
The black and white one. That is a mess up.
And let me bring the stroke down a bit. So you can see dotted. We can change our stroke to dotted lines. We can probably import other strokes. We can probably get squiggly lines. But really and truly, all the stroke is a line or a boundary on the outside of your document, right? And you can customize how it appears. Basically, you can set how the caps, corners, how your dashes are applied. And you can also use strokes on every other objects apart from shapes in your layer styles, but we'll get to that a little later on. All right. Does that answer your question on what the stroke is?
Yes, sir.
What is stroke? Show me where you click for stroke there to find
The
it.
stroke. So,
Yeah.
so for the shapes specifically, you need to have a shape and you need to have the shape tool selected. So you need to be on the shape tool or whatever active tool is on that button. And then the options bar directly below the menu bar will change to show you the shape properties pretty much, and we'll give you the option for fill and a stroke for that shape. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that help.
All right, cool. Okay, let's continue looking at objects, working with different objects on our document. So everybody knows how to move a document, an object around our document, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in the case of a shape, you create a shape, you then select the move tool, and then you can click and drag to move the shape to any location that you want. What's a quick way to duplicate that shape, meaning create a copy of it?
So go on your layers side.
I just hold Alt.
Alt. Right. So the quickest way is to hold down the Alt key and to notice when I hold down the Alt key, my cursor changes to a double-headed cursor, meaning it's going to create a clone, right, or a copy of the object. So you just hold down Alt and click and drag to create a duplicate of the object. You can also, in the layers panel, right-click on the object and duplicate layer. That will do the same thing. Click OK, but it'll create a copy directly on top of the other layer. All right.
Yeah.
So that's two ways you have to duplicate your layers. All right. Now let's look at layers and easy alignment. So for the most part, you will be aligning your layers by hand, right? You will be, sorry, let's get my colors right. All right. So you will be clicking on an object and moving it to where you want to get your alignment to be. But what if you wanted to get your layers aligned perfectly? Let's say I wanted the center of these two shapes to be aligned. I wanted it center. That looks about center, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now the smart guides in the new versions of Photoshop, which are those little pink lines that you see automatically showing up in different locations, make it easy for alignment. And in that case, we have just two
Excuse me,
shapes.
that alone I want to ask you. Did I have
Uh-huh.
a way to put on and off those pink lines? I put it off by accident. I just can't remember how to put it back on.
All right, so that is called smart guides. So view, if you click on view and you go to
Yeah, you was in the right place. Show.
show,
Yeah, smart guys right there.
yeah, show smart guides.
Okay, well, if it's easy like that, then it's my Photoshop.
Is your Photoshop? You haven't, what
Yeah,
version of Photoshop are you using?
Whatever I get my hands on at the present moment.
All right, well, we're using CC9 2019.
Well, yes, I know
right.
this scene, man.
Okay, so yeah, so the smart guides make alignment easy, right? But if, and especially in the case of two shapes here, we can get it. But if you work with multiple objects, it's not always as easy as that, right? What is another way that we can align these objects perfectly center or in a different manner? Any ideas?
Using the guidelines like the regular ones with the ruler.
Right, using the guidelines, so we can set a guide, right? And we can say, well, that this is the center, put this in the center and put that in the center. But I want an easier way.
So I'm not sure, but I remember a time I was pressing shift and the shapes are just sticking together. I don't know.
Okay, all right, so now if I select one shape, click on one shape selected, right? And I hold down shift, it will allow me to select any other shapes on the document. So in that case, notice I have both of them selected, right? Now with the move tool active, if you look at the options toolbar here, notice I have alignment options. I can align them left, I can align them right, I can align them center, I can align them top, bottom, middle. Yeah?
What?
Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Right. So that is your easy alignment tools right here. Now, show you one more aspect of it.
Mind blown.
It have some fellas that are using Photoshop there for years, and if they feeling like how I feeling there now, that could have saved my life. So many bumbleclap times.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. Let me show you something.
Oh yeah.
Let's take it one step further. We have one more option there that we can use, right? Which is called distribute. Notice I have 3 shapes there, right? And let's say I have them out. I have the first where I want it. I have the second where I want it. And let's even take it a bit further. Let's throw in another one right there. All right. So I have 4 shapes here, right? Just move them so we can get them all on the artboard. All right. I have an option for distribute. And I will even out the spaces between them.
Oh yes, I like that too, boy.
Yeah.
Love it.
So from this, I can just easily distribute and get
what?
Easy spacing.
No, Farah, no. I just always use that tool, trust me, and I love it.
So you can do the same thing if you have your objects aligned vertically. So let me just.
No way, you lying.
All right, so
Do it.
yeah, easy peasy. So your alignment tools. Play around with it when you get the chance, and make sure you have the hang of it. Right? You need to have your move tool active to do that. Okay. So I think
I never know you could use that tool like that. The only time I ever use that tool is when I work with logos or watermarks or anything like that, when you're watermarking your pictures or using the scale tool or what, boy.
Well, it's a time saver for sure. Yeah, especially when you have a lot of objects working with. And
Trust me, I just use that tool a lot, and trust me, it saved my life. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Okay, guys. I think we pretty much have the shape tool down. Yeah. For the basic shapes at least, right? Let's look at going a little further. So custom shape, if we have the custom shape tool, right? Once we select, and let me remove all of those other objects on my document. Right. So the custom shape tool now allows us to use a range of other shapes that are built into Photoshop, and some that we can even import. Some we can create ourselves and add to our list. All right. So to use that tool, once it's selected, we go up to the options bar and find the shape from the list. If you don't see all of what you see here, click on the little gear icon and select all. It's grouped up. So
yeah, and you can add more in it.
Right. You can create your own shapes as well. I'll let you guys play with that. But it's easy. You select a shape. Whatever shape you select is now the active shape. And you apply it the same way that I showed you for the basic shapes. So you click and drag to freeform apply a shape, or you would single click and put in a size. So say in that case, 3 inches again by 3 inches. I don't know if that will be. You also have an option here to preserve proportions. And that may also be what was going on with the other person that had issues with the resizing of the shapes. If you have preserved proportions and you put one number in the width, it's going to put in the preset proportion in the height that will give you a shape in the right ratio. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes,
right. So it's gonna give you a shape.
I think that's where it was for.
That's where it probably was. Yeah. So
yes.
If you have preserved proportions enabled here, then it will only allow you to use values that will keep the shape in its precise proportions. Otherwise, the shape will be stretched or squeezed one way or the other. Okay. All right.
I got one quick question.
Go ahead.
For the shapes, did you have to download a separate shape pack, or did your Photoshop come with all of those?
All of the shapes that you see here on my Photoshop are built into Photoshop.
I see, but I have separate folders, like one says leaf trees, wild animals, boats.
Okay, right. But if you click one of them says all.
You have to go on all.
But I don't see that option on mine.
Okay, if you don't see the all option, then it might be that your version of Photoshop doesn't show it, and then you have to go through it individually. But there should really be an all right there that will show you. Because I have the same thing. So if I wanted to see all animals, this is my animal pack.
Right? I showed the 2019 documents too.
Right. But you can also just show all.
Like that entire section of the options list isn't there for me. I'm using the 2020 version.
Oh, you're using 2020?
2020?
And you
yeah,
don't have
within it.
Keep in mind, guys, we are the Pirates of the Caribbean, and we might be using different versions that may have different issues. Right?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So if you don't see it there, that is typically where it should be. Okay. And you just have to use use it folder by folder, pretty much. Yeah. Until you can find a new version of Photoshop.
But you can amend each of every. You can amend each one. You know, like if you don't have all, you can like amend.
Are we getting those How do you get the other ships? You have to download it on the web.
Additional ships? Yeah,
Sure.
if you want more ships, you can download ships from the web, right? You can also create your own ships. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in a while for those of you who didn't get it for homework. But you can always go online, go on Google, do a search for Photoshop shapes, and I'm sure you'll get tons and tons of shape packs that you can download and import into your Photoshop. All right.
All right.
Okay. Now, any other questions on shapes? No? All right.
Not really.
Okay, if we have a custom shape like that, any idea how we would modify it? I just showed you how we would do it with the sun in a previous example. I believe it was this one, yeah? But how would you go about modifying the shape or customizing the shape?
Well, for one thing, you can rasterize it.
You can rasterize it, yeah, but if you rasterize it, you'll be able to edit it the way that I'm going to show you right now, which is probably a better way.
I think the thing you showed last time with the, you go to, I think it's edit and transform. You could use this SKU and such.
No. So that one I'm going to show you how you would edit the remember we spoke about the vector graphics is made out of paths and points.
Yeah.
So to edit those paths and points, you would use your directly above the shape tool, you have the direct selection tool and the path selection tool. All right. So the path selection tool will select an entire path for you, right? But the direct selection tool will allow you to directly select either a path segment. Just a minute. All right, yeah, my Photoshop has hung up for a second. All right, so either a path segment, right? A point between two path segments, right? Or a handle, and those little things on the sides are handles, right? That control how our points Nathan Joseph. All right. Everybody see that?
Yep.
So your direct selection tool will allow you to customize your paths as needed. Right? Okay. Now, to create a custom path, we would use our pen tool. So I'm going to delete this. Bear with me, guys. All right, so our pen tool will allow us to draw a path, and to draw a path is simple. We click to make a point. We go to another location. We click to make a second point, and instantly a path will be drawn to join those 2 points. Everybody sees that? Click to make another point. Another path segment, sorry, will be created to join those 2 points. And you keep making points, drawing your path as you go along. All right? And to close your path or to stop creating the path, you would close by clicking on your very first path, your very first anchor point, sorry. So notice when I go back to the very first point that I created, my icon changes to show a little circle indicating that it's going to close off the loop, right? If I click right here, and that gives me, if I go to my layers palette, a brand new custom shape that I created. Everybody see that?
Yeah, so you can save that shape in your shapes, right?
Right, you can save that shape. How would you go about saving that shape? Anybody knows?
I don't know.
Define shape.
Huh? Let me see if I can remember.
I have never seen shapes like that.
So All right. So we've drawn this shape, right? And if we want to add it to our list of custom shapes, with our shape tool selected and our shape selected, we click edit and define custom shape. All right. It's going to ask us for a name. We're going to call that my crazy shape in all caps. All right. Okay. My crazy shape. It was just a random shape. All right. Now
that crazy shape.
Put it show one more time.
What the process?
Yeah, how you save it?
Okay. So again, the first thing you draw the shape, right?
Correct.
You got how to draw the shape.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So you would then need to have the shape selected, then go into the edit menu.
Yes, I'm here.
Define custom shape.
Okay.
You get it?
Yes.
Right. When you click on that, it should ask you for a name for the shape.
Okay. Understood.
Right. Now, to pull it up, I'm going to delete that shape and go to my custom shapes. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and here, if I hover over that, we have this one, my crazy shape. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna click and drag, hold on shift tool, get it in proportions, and there we go, my crazy shape, defined as a custom shape. Everybody get that? So
yes,
you can grow your shape collection as needed. For me, I don't really define custom shapes. I either pull the shapes as needed or draw them manually, really and truly. Now, this shape that I showed you is all straight lines. Yeah. Let's take it one step further, because how do you draw a circle with the pen tool? So a click will create a point, and a second click will create a straight line between those 2 points, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to click, but this time not just click, but click and drag. So click here, I'm going to drag. What that does is it pulls out 2 handles, one in either direction. One in the direction that I pull and one in the opposite direction, right? So left and right, up, down. And these handles define how the path in between those 2 anchor points is, well, the path it follows. All right. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna close up, go back to the very first point, close. All right. And this is my shape. I have half a circle. All right.
Wait, hold up. Just go back 1 second.
No, that's like half of
well, yeah, half of a something, not even half a oval, but you get the idea. It have a rounded bottom. Yes, GK, what you say in the other?
So just in case, like, if somebody would want to do that,